Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I'm out here working, y'all. Do you see this jungle? There's a flower bed in there. There's actually like landscaping edging stones in there. And this pretty much goes all the way around the house. So it's beautiful temperatures here. It's a little overcast, but lovely. So this is what I'm working on today. I was gonna work on the chicken coop today, but I don't have to do that today. But I did want to get rid of this disaster. So here's what we're doing. All right, here's where I'm going. Here's where I've been. Huge difference. But probably be an all-day project, or at least until I get too tired to do any more out here. Then I'll go in the house, get cleaned up, and work on stuff in the house. But it's looking good. It's looking better so far. I just got to keep on going. So I mentioned in my previous video about the corkscrew willows that are going to have to go. And I'm not going to keep those just because, you know, like I said in the other video, every spot on this property has a designated purpose, and I don't have a place that I want to sacrifice to keep those trees. But I think there's going to be some other trees going too. Now, I love a dogwood tree. Love a dogwood tree. However, this little baby tree is right in front of my bedroom window. So this thing gets bigger. Now, right now, it's pretty small. The trunk is like maybe 1.5 inches in diameter. I might be able to dig this one up and move it. I will try and move this one. But I don't want a 15, 20-foot tree in front of my bedroom window, blocking the view. It's a beautiful view. I want to be able to see out. There are several trees planted all around this house. Now we've got the roses that got to get pruned later on, and the massive hydrangeas that'll need to get pruned later on. But around the other side, there's like trees. The magnolia tree that's over there, you know, been doing a little bit of research. We're going to leave it, and hopefully it'll be all right. We're going to keep it pruned. Just looking up all the information I can. But if we keep it pruned so that it doesn't crowd out the house and like rub on the house all the time, then it should be okay. The dogwood, I mean, it would probably be fine there, except for the fact that it's in front of my window. If it was around the corner, wouldn't bother me one bit. They're not known to have invasive roots. We got red buds, a couple of red buds. I'm going to leave those because from everything I've read, those are fine. But some of the trees that have been planted here, it's like, what were you thinking putting this so close to the house? This was not ideal. Beautiful, but not where it should be. So, back to work. All right, yesterday I was out here working on this, and I got like everything pulled back. I got this cleared out, at least all the way around the front. I've still got to work on the side over here, which, by the way, there is a squash plant growing over here. I'm guessing probably a pumpkin. Check this out. Look at that. Oh, do we have anything growing yet, or is it just a bunch of blossoms? Oh, yo, look right there. We got a pumpkin. Look. All right, that's the only one I see, but it's a pumpkin. Yay. All right, so today I'm getting started on this bed out front. Look at the difference. Looks so much better. Or it will once it's mowed down. But we're getting all the edges cleaned up. We're getting the beds cleaned up. And You can see here, there's stones, and here, where are they? So today I'm working on this, and then we'll see where we go from there. Well, I got rained out. I got most of the way around the bed, at least just clearing the edge. But I still gotta go into the bed and actually clean it out. Ooh, let me back up so I don't get rained on. Not that I'm afraid of getting wet, of course. I just don't want my phone getting rained on. So, I guess we'll work in the house today, or at least for now. Whew. Well, there it is. There was just a bluebird out there a second ago, probably appreciating that I had exposed all of these bugs and everything in there. Where did it just go? It must have saw me and flew off. There's another little bird right there. What you got? What's here for me to eat? Hey friends, so I got rained out from working outside right now, so I'm doing some stuff in the house here. Last night I put wallpaper on my refrigerator. I was really torn because, I had wallpaper on my fridge in Arkansas and I love it. And I couldn't decide which one I wanted to put on, the same one that I have here or this one. Now this one's kind of like a buttery color and it has like different flowers and stuff on it. Decided to go with this one just to mix it up a little bit. I might change my mind and put the other one on. I had both. When I was doing the fridge in Arkansas, I had bought like four or five different prints because I wanted to see them in person before I decided which one I wanted. And I just returned the ones I didn't want. But I loved this one so much that I kept it in case, I was sure there'd be something I'd want to do with it later on. So I love that there's like the oranges. It's just more delicate flowers. The colors are a little more subtle. So I put this one on. And I put it on this side. And I put it on this side. So both sides are covered. Just been working on things, working outside when it's nice in the morning, and then coming in and working in, and just kind of going back and forth. But you can see some things right there on the counter, paint swatches. All right, so you can see the countertop right here is like this green color. It's like a grayish green, and I didn't know if I wanted to paint now I'm gonna do my kitchen here like in Arkansas. Green on the bottom, white on top. So white uppers, green lowers. But I didn't know which color of green I wanted to use because I wasn't sure if I wanted to use the same green, partly because of this green countertop. I wanted to make sure whatever color I use goes well with it. So I've just grabbed like a whole bunch of greens from the paint section at the store the other day. All different varieties because I didn't know what I wanted. I don't know that the colors will show up properly on camera, but this right here, this is called copper patina. This is the color of my lower cabinets in Arkansas, and I got this color because it was pretty close to the jade. Not exact, but pretty darn close. This is the color of the handles on everything that was a white cabinet in the kitchen there in Arkansas. And I didn't know what I wanted to go with because it needed to go well with this countertop, but then also look nice with the handles. So I decided I didn't want to do this time around. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I went through like looking at all these different colors. I ruled this one out right away. This was just way too olivey. Even though I love olive green, this is not it. I ruled out, because I thought, well, maybe I'll want to go dark. Really dark. This is shade grown. What is this? This is a Sherwin-Williams color. I mean, I like it, but I think it's too dark. Then I was looking at kind of like the sagey colors. These are all kind of sagey. And I kind of ruled out a bunch of these. Like this one is way too blue. And then, I mean, I kind of like these. This one's like really close to that one. Not quite, but close. But I didn't really want that one. You know, looking at the color of the countertop, I wanted it to have like that same feel to it. I really like this one. It's called Cocoon, and it's also a Sherwin-Williams color. It's like almost the countertop right there. So that one, I kind of put it in a maybe file. A lot of these, I just kind of said no, ruled them out right away. And I kind of narrowed it down to this one, this one, this one, and this one. Two blue. And then there was also this one from, who was this? Glidden. Look at the size of their swatches they give you. Look at that. Now that really gives you the idea of what the room is going to look like, or whatever you're going to painting is going to look like. That's really nice. Look at that. That's huge. That one's called Farm Fresh. I actually really like that color. But again, I don't know that it's going to show up well on camera what these colors actually look like. But this is what I've narrowed it down to, is these four. And of course, it's not going to be the same as the handles. This one's pretty close. So I'm kind of, this one's called Eucalyptus Wreath. This is a bear color. This one is called Conifer Green, also a bear color. And then this one is a Sherwin-Williams. Again, I already showed you that, called Cocoon. And then this was a Valspar color called Warm Eucalyptus. And I'm kind of leaning towards this one or this one. I think that one's maybe a little too dark. Even though it's like, it seems like it's almost the same color as the countertop, it's a little more brown than it is green. That one's pretty darn close. But I'm thinking it's going to be one of these two right here. The warm, or the conifer green, or the eucalyptus wreath. Because when I put it down, you know, when you look at that, I think that it goes well with the countertop. And, you know, on the bottoms down here, these are going to be white handles, the milk glass handles. So it's not going to be with the green, but it's going to be, you know, in the same kitchen. It's really down to these two, the eucalyptus green and the conifer green. And I'm having a hard time deciding between the two, to be honest. So I'm having a hard time picking between the two. So I think what I'm going to do, go to the hardware store and get the little sample size jar of these two colors. And then I'll paint them, like maybe on this drawer right here. Oh, and by the way, y'all, I love that. My Hartselle house had that. I love it that this house has that. The little fold out storage for your dish rags and such, sponges. Paint the two colors on here, see what it looks like next to the countertop. And when I have like a bigger view of it, then I'll decide. I mean, it boils down to, do I want to go dark or do I want something a little bit lighter? Let me go over here to the sunlight. I got rained out from doing chores. See, here's the colors. Although I think it just stopped raining. Anyways, these are the two colors that I'm trying to decide between. The lighter one kind of gives the feel of the old kitchen, but the darker one is a little bit different. And I'm kind of leaning towards the dark, but we'll know for sure after I get those swatches, or those samples. And I also got some barely green samples for the walls. Now, my Hartzell kitchen in Alabama, my Arkansas kitchen, both have the same color walls called Ivy Shadow, made by Valspar. I love it. And when I was grabbing paint samples, I was at Home Depot, which they don't carry Valspar. They have different brands, so I didn't get my Ivy. But actually, I don't think I've seen an Ivy Shadow swatch in a long time, but I have some. I have a couple of them. I saved these for all the paint colors that I use, and I put them in a folder, and I have them put away, so that down the road, if I need to remember what paint color something is, I have the swatch with the code on it, so they can look up the color and look up the recipe for it. Anyway, so I picked these up. Barely green. I like that just hint of green. Like from a distance, it looks white, but it has the ever so slightest green hue to it. And I think maybe the moss mint looks kind of green here, but on the wall next to the white trim, it's barely green. So I might get that for the wall. I don't know. I'm going to compare it to the Ivy Shadow swatch, and we'll decide. So, all right, y'all. Since it looked like it stopped raining, I'm going to get back to work. Hello, friends. All right, so it's later in the day now. I have been working on unpacking boxes, and then I ran did a quick run to the hardware store, and I picked up some paint. Now, I got the little sample sizes of the two, if I can get this spread apart, of the two that I was trying to decide between for the cabinets. I also went ahead and picked up a gallon of the wall paint. Now, like I said before, the wall paint that I've used in the past is called Ivy Shadow. It's a Valspar color. But this one is like about identical to it, and it's the Bear color. It's called Moss Mist. So I just went ahead and picked up the Bear version because that's the store I was at. And then I got the samples of the two different cabinet colors. So I painted some swatches on the cabinets. You can see some right back there on the tall cabinet right there, the pantry. And y'all, let me tell you, I painted in a couple different spots. Right here. I painted. Now it's still wet. I just did this one. I painted right here on the end of the cabinet, and I painted right here in front of the sink. And I discovered two things because I've done these swatches. Number one, I'm having a really hard time deciding. Painting these swatches, these little sections of color, has not helped me make my decision. It has not made it any easier. It also showed me that this paint is not going to stick to the cabinets. Now, sometimes you can just paint over painted cabinets and it's no problem. Sometimes you can't. And, you know, I have no idea what kind of paint this is on the cabinets that you see here. It may just not be one that's compatible with whatever paint I'm using. So there's a few options. You know, I could kilt it, prime it with kilts. I could scrub it down with like TSP or a less chemically version. There's another thing out there that's similar to TSP, which is like a industrial degreaser. There's other versions out there that are not quite so toxic, but that like strips the cabinets and makes it, you know, suitable to paint. I could sand them down. I'm gonna start, I think, with using the degreasing cleaner. And now I have scrubbed this kitchen, y'all. I have scrubbed it like for days, literally. So they're clean. They're as clean as I can get them. But I have not used something like an industrial degreaser. But I will start off easy and hopefully just cleaning these down with, you know, something that's a little bit more of a potent cleaning agent. Maybe that'll do the job. I'll try that first. If not, I will probably, I would say kilts them. You know, use the kilts primer because I think that would be the second easiest, because I definitely don't want to have to sand these down. You know, you've got the texture in the little grooves and all that. It's just kind of a pain to sand these. So that's going to be what I'm going to try. But y'all, these colors. Wall color, 2 different cabinet colors. I was thinking I wanted to go with the darker one to make it totally different than my other kitchen, at least the lowers. But then I painted this one on there too, and I really like that one also. I'm having a tough time deciding, to be honest, to be quite honest with you. I'm wondering if this one isn't actually too close to the color of the countertop. I'm kind of thinking it would just blend all together and not just complement the countertop, but actually like make it look like one big thing. So I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards this one. It's definitely darker than my kitchen in Arkansas. Definitely not the same color. I just know these colors don't show up well on the camera like this, but I think this one might be. So if you imagine this is the countertop, because it's really, really close, and then this is the cabinet, I think that might work better. So I think, making my decision on the fly, y'all. So I think we're gonna go with eucalyptus wreath. It's the bear color, eucalyptus wreath. But I'll wait a little bit though. I'm gonna wait. I did buy like I said, the wall paint. So I can go ahead and paint a little bit in here this evening. After the sun goes down, I can't do stuff outside. Or maybe I'll wait till tomorrow. I don't know. I'm exhausted, y'all. But there's still stuff to do. Always stuff to do. But I'm going to live with these two for a little bit and think about it. But I think I'm leaning more towards the medium green one. Medium sage, eucalyptus wreath. So I think that might be the one. But it has been a productive day. I've gotten a lot done. I was working outside until it started raining and it was soaking wet. It stormed several times today here, and so everything's, you know, a jungle out there. Came inside, started working on unpacking more boxes. Our spare room is kind of like the holding area until they're all done. But it feels like everything's coming along. We're seeing progress. I was hoping to pick up the extra cabinets, or the rest of the cabinets, to go right here, and then the ones that are going to go up above. But with it storming and storming and storming, the last thing I need is have my cabinets in the bed of my truck and get caught in a storm on the way home. We don't need to do that. So we will get to the other cabinets whenever the weather is cooperative, and work on those too. With that, y'all, that is it for today. Thanks for spending time with me and hanging out here at the new house. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.